Okay, everyone, you are going to want to grab a cup of coffee or whatever it is, and you're going to stay with us for the Power Hour with your host, Lauren Powers, moi, because I have an exciting, fabulous, fierce female friend of mine. You guys may or may not know her, but you're going to know her after this hour because we are going to have a conversation. Who knows where it's going to go? That's what I love about this woman. She's already laughing. We're going to laugh and have fun because we always do. She's amazing. She doesn't even know what an impact she has had on my personal life. And I'm going to share that a little bit with you as we go through this time together. But I don't want to waste any more time because I want to give her stage. Her name is Sandra Yancey. She is the founder of eWomen Network. We know we love her. Sandra, welcome to the Power Hour. I'm so thrilled you are here, girlfriend.
I'm really excited to be with you. Yeah.
We had some time in Newport Beach together and an Orange County chapter together. And I want to tell a little story about when we met too, because it's pretty funny. But how's it going, girlfriend? We're right in the middle of this insane crisis.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, all considering, it's been a big shift for everyone to adjust to this whole self-distancing. And, I've been touched in a number of ways. Someone dear that passed away from COVID-19. My aunt, who's the last living relative on my mother's side, she was my mother's sister, passed away not from COVID-19, but the funeral service was done by Zoom. And so, it's unruffled, certainly the way we do some of our rituals and the way we mourn and the way we have to do our businesses, right?
Correct. Like this right now, we're doing this on Zoom. I made a joke of it. It's in light of this. The virus is positive. It's like the coronavirus brought to you by Zoom.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah.
So crazy because we're all spending so much time on it, but it's been great because the connections that we can still keep.
Yeah.
So important. And I'm very grateful for that because I've been 8 to 10 hours. Like I have a Zoom butt is what I call now.
Yeah. Well, they're also talking about they're saying that's actually a term called Zoom fatigue. And someone even took the Zoom logo and the 2 O's and have it like sleepy eyes, kind of, so I think it's important around, how do we use Zoom in a way that is enlightening, invigorating, engaging, all of that is, I think, another lesson of learning.
Absolutely. Sure. Well, we had our first virtual accelerated network with eWomen for Orange County on the Zoom with the breakout rooms and all that. And wow, Diana Sabatino, of course, I adore and love her, and that's how
just amazing.
You. Well, that's the story because I was brand new to eWomen. In fact, I wasn't in women's empowerment or any of this networking ever, and I was invited to eWomen. It was my second time ever because I come from the fitness background, so never even all these networking things. Never even been to one. So I'm at the Orange County chapter and I'm getting coffee and you come by and you're like, wow, you're fabulous. Let's get a picture and all this stuff. And then I end up sitting next to you and then your big intro comes on and I look at you and you look at me and I'm like, and you're like, I didn't have any clue who you were. And I'm saying, we're chatting behind the scene and your whole bigger, larger than life comes on and then you go up and you're like the founder of the whole thing.
Right. It's fun. I'm just a regular small town girl, Midwestern girl, and you have to remember that, right? You have to remember that. Yeah.
It was you were so humble though, because like I said, we're like girlfriends just waiting for you to go up.
Right.
There was like 100 people plus in the room.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting next to you of all people. Just like it just happened. Yeah. And then there you go.
Yeah. It didn't just happen.
Exactly. No mistake.
I used to call them God winks. And then my dear friend Hiram Smith, who, just passed away this past November 18th. He was a tremendous mentor of mine before I ever knew him. And he built a $1 billion company called Franklin Planning. Then he bought his best friend Stephen Covey's business, Franklin Covey, and we became the closest of friends and even did retreats and things together. And I used to say, oh, that's a God wink whenever I'd see something that we'd say is no coincidence, because there are none. And I loved it. He said to me, you know what a God wink really is? And I said, what's that? And he said, it's when God chooses to intervene, but also opts to remain anonymous. I love that, you know? I mean, we were destined to meet that day.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I wanted to share it, because I'm a big fan of, manifesting everything, creating everything we want.
Yes, I know you are. Mm-hmm.
All of that. So yeah, but it's just, I just think it was so cute, because you're like, that's you. And you're like, yeah. So humbling. I'm like, I know. I just love that. And I had the privilege of being at conference last year for the first time, when you had 2,000 female entrepreneurs and all empowering. And that was just so amazing. And met your daughter, and I met your husband and your trainer. I met the whole crew.
Yeah, right. Yes.
It was so awesome. And I can't wait to go to conference again this year.
Yeah. We're doing all kinds of things to make it so safe, extra things that we're doing. I'm really excited about it. And just because, you could do all the things you have to do. But I think when you care for people, it's a wonderful opportunity to do more things that make people feel just extra cared for. And in this case, also extra safe. So, we're going to follow the letter of the law, but we're going to go way beyond that to make sure that things are, truly, taken care of. And so anyway,
Of course
it's a lesson. I think it's every opportunity for us. It just happens to be COVID-19, right? But, we've had lots of other tragedies before that have changed us. I remember it wasn't that long ago, I don't think, Lauren, when the tragedy in Las Vegas, where all of those people were shot while they were watching a concert, right?
Yes.
And, it changed for me forever how I looked at floor seats, where I choose to position myself if I'm in a floor seat environment. It changes. I've been in a building that, in fact, Kim and I, my husband and I, were having a dinner when the alarms went off in a restaurant. And, people typically stop and go, is this real? Do we need to do it? Have you ever noticed that? Like, people just don't automatically get up and run. They just kind of look around. We're like eating our meal. Like, is this a fake thing? Was it a by accident thing? Is it a serious thing? And suddenly, busting out of the kitchen is this chef, and he goes, "Get out!" And we all went running out, and the building actually ended up burning to the ground. Wow. And everybody was fine. I mean, everybody got out, but it changed me forever. It changed me forever. It didn't stop me from going to restaurants, right? But it certainly gave my experience different. It made me heighten my awareness about some things, or doing some things that, are really important. So for example, I never, I go on tour, you speak a lot too. I check into my room. The first thing is that Leanne, my assistant, always books my room, closest room to the elevator. And most, to be totally honest, a lot of the reason why is because I'm just so tired when I get to a hotel room, and I typically have to,
from your high heels, so you want to walk,
get up and leave really early the next day, and I just don't want to be hauling, so I just like being, but I always put my bags, and I always take just a little bit of a walk to find out where's the exit. And I open the door, I make sure that it's working, and I look at the steps, and if I don't have my 10,000 steps in, I might even take the steps. But the point of the matter is, I always know how to get out of a hotel. If I were to come out of my room, is it left? Is it right? Is it, so, your life experiences create awarenesses, but they don't stop you. They don't stop you, right?
Right. We're supposed to learn from our experiences, and so we can, have more knowledge and what to do.
Yeah.
And now you take any of these incidents more seriously.
Yes.
That's a good thing, because so many crazy things have happened in our world. I mean, really, it's pretty wild.
I mean, this isn't the last thing. I mean, we had Ebola not too long ago, and luckily enough, it didn't spread, but, it was we had some people that came back. We were able to contain it. And how interesting, the new drug that they've just announced is, looking to be not a cure and not a quick fix, but a real positive sign for, I think they tested roughly around 1,000 people who were critically ill. They are releasing it as a potential really great drug to take for people that are in that late stage kind of thing. But, we'll get a cure for this, and you know what? Something else is going to pop up. It's just, if people aren't worried about global warming and all the thing that's going on, it's global warning,
Yeah,
global warming, no pun intended, right? Freudian slip, it's a warning. There's a lot of stuff going on that we should be paying really close attention to, and we're going to continue to have to do that.
Exactly. And you're doing that with your business. So I noticed you're so big on touring, and that's where I saw you again. You were touring it right before this happened. I got to see you again, and your platinum conference. Thank goodness it happened, because that was so much fun.
Yeah. And do you know that hotel, Fashion Island Hotel in Newport Beach right now is closed? We were the last event, Lauren, the last event they did. Yeah.
No mistake, right?
No mistake. No mistake. And I've got cities that are asking me to come, later this summer. I don't want to do anything, through May, and maybe, we'll check things out. I'm taking it day by day. And, listen, my health is really important. Everybody's health is really important to me. My family's health is important. So, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to be smart, and I'm not going to be reckless, and I'm not going to do things too soon. Here, everything opened up today in Dallas today.
Really?
I happen to be at my corporate office, but I'm here all by myself. I told my staff, doesn't matter that we're opened up. We're taking another week, and we're going to be at home. We're going to, but I like to come into the office being the only one here, and I get some things done, and I've got these fabulous windows surrounding me, and I love the light and being up high, and it's an invigorating place for me. But I'm going to be extra precautious and extra safe, but I'm coming back. I am. It may not look the same way, right? Might have to give bigger space so that we create more space between people, not more people, right? But bigger space to accommodate new practices. We'll make it work. We have to.
Exactly. You don't know any different, honey. So
right.
Tell us a little bit like how you grew eWomen, and for our audience listeners, because this is a whole, the show, the Power Hour, I geared it towards female entrepreneurs and beginning, experts in their fields on how to literally be all pillars of the triangle, I call it, from being healthy, wealthy, and happy for all three. And I think it's so important because if one side falls, the whole thing collapses. So
nothing's more important than your health, first and foremost. And then once you have your health, nothing's more important than being happy. You know what I mean? So how you create the integration between the two, I think, is what is so powerful around, your messaging, because, and listen, you have to find happiness sometimes. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm working harder right now, having converted in basically 3 weeks a totally live in-person events company to online, right? And I saw it happening about a week before we started self-distancing. So, we were going to do this anyway in October. It was a fourth quarter initiative for us. We were working on our website, and we wanted to do a big reveal of that in July. And then we were going to launch what we called new products, if you will. That's what we call our events. It's a product. And we were going to do that starting in October. And then when I started seeing what was happening at the beginning of my tour and bringing back to the team, we had talked about, well, maybe we should put the website on hold and accelerate going online, right? And so I have to tell you, to do it in the way we did, it's because we're like a 757 jet, and we didn't have the luxury of landing that puppy and putting it in a hangar and re-engineering. We had to do it while we were flying. And so in truthfulness, I think I've worked longer hours in the last 3 weeks than I have in the last 18 years. So of eWomen Network. I mean, this has been a real roll up your sleeves and go all in. You do what it takes, whatever it takes, how long it takes kind of thing. And yeah, I took last Saturday off, a week ago tomorrow. That's the first day I had off in 3 weeks. And, you know, but I love my company and I love that it makes me happy, to your point. And I know that what we do brings happiness because it brings success. I always tell our members, you focus on being safe, we'll focus on you being successful, right? And you can't do all things. You've got to figure out where you want to put your time and energy. So we really dove into all of this. It's been a lot of work. I can't say that these hours have been my happiest hours. And I've been stressed. You know, I'm balancing between, you know, all this that I did to go online. You know, we had to develop the technology, right, with the product. We had to, you know, create the registration part of it for it to be automated. We had to then, you know, design and write all of the emails, the reminder emails, the thank you for registering emails. It had to be tied into the back end to the accounting department. I mean, none of that had been created. So there were a lot of people, a lot of arms. We had to develop new brands. So we had to new branding, right, in terms of logos, and then the integration of everything. I mean, it's been, and then training our managing directors, scripting everything so that we have a duplicatable, repeatable system amongst all of our managing directors. We've got members worldwide. I mean, a lot of work. And you know what I had to do one day, Lauren, just to make myself happy?
What?
I put a raisin in my mouth and I just concentrated on how long I could chew that raisin and keep my mind focused on my breathing. Because I just was so cluttered with so much that I just couldn't see anymore. I felt like even my glasses weren't working. I mean, things felt dazed, and I realized I was just overloaded with so many details and so many things. And I just said, I'm going to take a raisin. I mean, for some people, it's an M&M. Have you ever done that? Have you ever put an M&M in your mouth and said, how long can I make this last? I mean, I've taken it out. Is the color gone? Oh, it's white. Let me put it. You're stuck on it very lightly so that the candy coating, you know what I mean? And then it's just chocolate. And then you stick it on the roof of your mouth and you see how long you can make it last. I mean, I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't have M&Ms, but I got raisins. Just to take one raisin, right? And just to chew it and just say to myself, I'm not going to let, and my mind didn't want to stay focusing on my breath. It wanted to go on but that's what meditation mindfulness is. It's bringing yourself back to center, And instead of waking up and writing down in my journal, here's 10 things I'm thankful for today, I decided I'm going to take my journal, which is usually by my nightstand, and instead of just, I have them all over the place, actually. I don't have just one journal. I've got 5, 6 of them going all the time. But I just am like, you know, I'm going to take this journal all around. There you go. Yes. CEO. That's a mood, isn't it? That's from our platinum event. Yeah. The point of the matter is just taking my journal around and noticing what I'm grateful for throughout the day. That's nice. Right? Not just in the morning where you can just make a laundry list, but, you know, taking notice of the things you take for granted. You know, my Garmin, you know, has a light on it for my steps, and I was going out at night doing my steps. We've had some wonderful breezy, cool evenings in Dallas, and I noticed that when I click on my light, it's fading. I think I got to probably fix the battery. But I was like, I got to get my 10,000 steps. Where am I? And I actually went under a light pole and, you know, looked at my light. And then I just thought to myself, wow, here's something I should appreciate that I really haven't think I've ever appreciated. The friggin' light pole. I mean, the fact that we live in a country that's got electricity. Mm-hmm. The fact that it just shows up right on time. I don't have to ask for it to appear. The fact that I've got legs that allowed me to walk over to it, that my eyes allowed me to see, a little bit blurry these days, but nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? Just to start to notice, I think, the things that we take for granted, right? To say thank you to the postman, you know, when he was delivering mail, and just saying, I see you. thank you. And to see his response, like, wow, you know, it might have made his day, but it definitely made mine. You know, that's that happiness factor that sometimes you got to dig a little deep for.
You guys, if you're not writing these down, these are golden nuggets coming from the queen herself.
You're so sweet.
Well, because I know I've been around you enough that these things just naturally slip out of your mouth.
Yeah.
You got to be quick to catch them.
Yeah. What you're grateful for and what you appreciate, and make them different lists, because then you basically double. Sometimes they might overlap, but what if we looked for 2 lists that were distinct and different? How much more awareness we would have of the things that, you know, are the blessings in our lives, right?
That's right.
And then in business, can we talk about business for a second? Is that okay?
Girlfriend.
Because I've had leaders all over the planet, it feels like, reach out to me like, how did you seemingly, I know it seems, so, seemingly turn eWomen Network on a dime? It wasn't a turn on a dime, as I said. I mean, it was 3 weeks, but truthfully, if you look at the hours and you accumulate them, it's probably 6 weeks worth of work. I mean, honestly, at least 16-hour days. In some cases, I had 18-hour days, right? And so if you looked at it as an 8-hour day, it was 6 weeks packed into 2 weeks, 3 weeks with the added additional week ahead of that. But we were just really thinking about putting the plans in place. So, and people have said, how did you do that? Because some people are stuck. Now, I'm going to share something, Lauren, and you know this. We're all in the same storm. We're not all in the same boat. So, the truth of the matter is that, not all businesses have a business model that they can turn. And I want to acknowledge that, because I don't want to pretend like I'm got my head in the sand and don't realize that there's some businesses that have flat out stopped. Sure. Also, though, let me just say, I do think there's an opportunity to not totally give up, to maybe trust and do some meditation around 2 things. Maybe, this is a message for you around maybe something bigger that you've been thinking about, but, because it hasn't been comfortable, it hasn't been easy, you haven't done it. And so now's the time the universe is showing up to say, now you have the time and space. What might that be? What might it look like? That's one thing. If the business has totally crashed. The other thing is, how can you look at your business, but look at it with fresh eyes? Because let's just be really clear. The eWomen Network business model on March the 23rd, or whatever that day, 20th, I think it was, whatever that day was where they, safe distanced us, completely died. I mean, like dead in the water, crashed to the ground, the whole live event concept. Now, we do a lot of things online, but the live event concept, which is really our, signature core element of our business model, crashed. And so I could have said, oh my gosh, we're just not going to be able to do any events. Let's just focus on all our online offerings. But I think if we push, we can be and are open, we can see things that have been in our blind spot previously. So what I want to say is, if you're watching this right now and you're like, Sandra, I just don't know what that would be, it's okay. It's okay. What I've learned is that, a business owner just goes, I don't see it. A CEO goes, I just don't see it now. And so what a CEO says is, how can I? That's why disengagement, right, and distancing rather, is not the same as disengagement. You need your network more than ever right now, because a really great CEO isn't someone who has all the answers. A really great CEO is someone who has all the questions. So what if you used your networking community to simply say, I'm stuck. I mean, this is what my business model has been. This is the way I've been doing my business. And I just don't see how I could do it differently. What am I missing? And just posing that to a group of people in a breakout room in Zoom, and just being open to receiving what they say. Have you considered this? Have you thought of that? Who cares if you considered it 2 years ago? 2 years ago was a whole different time. Who you are, who the environment is, what the environment is, and who your potential customers are now different. And if you allow yourself to just like open your fist up, this isn't working, instead of what is the possibility of what I don't see, right? You could get ideas that could really help you. And that's really all I did. So there's 6 elements that you got to look at to really reinvent yourself, because it doesn't just happen with the snap of a finger or the astonishment of, I got the idea, because that's what I call the product. Whatever it is that thing is that you're going to provide, whether it be a product or service, I categorize it kind of like a product, that thing that you're going to do. Now you've got to say, okay, if this is what I want to do, then what is it that I need to have done? So getting really clear on what are all the tentacles, what are all the aspects that need to be done, and do I have the people in my life right now that I need to help me do it? Because this is a good time to do your people math, right? Who are the people that can add, right? Who are the people that can multiply your life and your business versus who are the people that will subtract and divide? You know, in business, people come into your life for seasons and reasons. Not everybody stays forever. And that's not a bad thing. And it doesn't mean that wasn't a great time that we had together, but sometimes you outgrow people. Sometimes people aren't comfortable with the person, the woman you must become, right? So this is a time to start to say, who are the people that I don't have, that don't have the skills now for this new thing that I know I need to offer? And then you use your networking group to go find those people, right? You could just say, who do you know? Again, it's that CEO thinking of, let me ask the questions, right? Let me ask the questions. Who do you know that does this or this or that? So it's people. Then you got to be really clear on your priorities. So here's what I'm doing every single day. Okay, what are my top 3 things? What are the top 3 things? Everybody in the company has to have 5 things they're working on, the top 3 things representing 80% of everything they do that day. So what are the real top 3 things that you're going to commit to doing that moves your businesses forward, that you're willing to say, I'm not going to go to bed until these 3 things are done? Now, what I'm going to tell you is you're going to work a couple long days, and then you're going to get smart. Because what's going to happen is it's very natural for all of us to get caught in the minutia, the administrivia of our jobs, of what we do. And when you focus on the 3 things and you commit to not going to bed until those 3 things are done, then suddenly, after a few kind of really late or early mornings, you're going to say, I don't want to do this like this anymore. I'm going to commit that I'm going to get to bed tonight by 10:30, 11 o'clock. Or if it's earlier for you, whatever your ideal time is, it doesn't matter. Point of the matter is, suddenly you stop getting distracted by the things that take you off your game, off the most important things, and you deliver on those 3 things. And those 3 things that really you've identified that move the business forward, you'll start to see traction picking up by doing those things instead of all the other, stuff, right? And then I would say then the 4th thing I think you need to really focus on is, so what are the new processes that you need to put in place? What's really different about how you're going to do your business and how you're going to measure your business, which really moves you into performance, right? So those processes are the things that are going to give you the things to measure so that you can say, is this working? Am I making progress? Just last night, just yesterday, we had, I think, something around 15 to 20 people that joined just yesterday. And we've had several of those days this year. So this month, rather, or in the month of April, I guess I should say. So the point of the matter is, if you're measuring things, what are the things that let you know that things are working, even if they're not at 100% of what you had before? If you're making progress, and, measuring matters, hashtag measuring matters, really, what gets measured is what gets done. So when you get really crystal clear on the things that you're going to measure, and you really say, I'm going to measure them weekly, you can then make those mid-course corrections, because you're not going to be perfect. But let me just tell you, I'd rather you take imperfect action than perfect inaction, right? I mean, you got one of these. Right?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Action is the enemy of thought. I gave these away to all my platinum members, like Lauren, at our event. Some people do a word of the year? I don't do a word of the year. I do a quote of the year. Right? Last year, my quote I stole from Bill Gates. He said it, and I loved it so much I used it as my quote of the year. And it was busy is the new stupid. That was my 2019. Busy is the new stupid. Man, I'm reading an article to find out what he's thinking is like, the next wave of technology coming. I can't tell you one thing in that article. I was talking about technology because I read that one statement. I said, that's the one thing I was supposed to read. That's the one thing that can change everything for me. He made this little statement about busy is the new stupid. And I swore to myself, and it took me, I mean, it was a hard habit to break. I mean, I swore to myself by the end of 2019, I wasn't going to be saying I'm busy anymore, because I think we get so busy, we think that we're effective. And there's no correlation between the two. The other thing I think we do is we think about things so long that we think we're working on it. I'm working on it by thinking about it. No. Action is the enemy of thought.
Yeah.
Take action. Action is what changes things. And I think a business owner is the kind of person that says, I gotta get ready to take action. And a CEO says, I'm going to take action to get ready. When I take action, I'm going to get progress. I'm going to do my plan do review. I'm going to assess. I'm going to make some little tweaks, and I'm going to keep going. And that's what this opportunity, I think, is really all about, because the people that are working on those things today are the people that are going to have the businesses coming out of this thing.
Awesome. So good. Action is the enemy of thought. You guys write that down. Right?
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm very guilty of saying that. I'm just busy. I'm busy. And then it's like at the end of the day.
Or I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. Like how long are you going to sit and thinking about it? You know what I'm saying?
What do they call it? Analysis paralysis.
Right.
So
right. And that rigor mortis creates mountains, right? And actions move them. You know, actions move those mountains, right? So you got to choose every day, what are the 3 things I can accomplish that move my business forward? And the key is move. Those words are so powerful, right?
So what were the 6 things again? So I've got people.
Okay, so the first one is, what's the product? Right? And then, you know, who are the people with the skills that I need as people? And then what are the priorities that I need to have in place to make sure that I'm taking action every single day, right? And then what are the processes that I need to put in place that I haven't needed to put in place until now? And then what's the performance measures, right, so that I'm tracking it? And then the 6th one is plate. And I didn't talk about that, but plate is really important, because what I'm not implying is that we get to just shut everything down and just work on those new things. So it's doing a reassessment of what's valuable that I need to keep doing today. It's kind of like the plates, you know, at the circus on the spinning plates, not the juggling of balls, right? But the spinning of the plates, because you can spin something pretty well and let it go for a minute and work on this, but then you can't forget. You got to go back and hit it again, right? So, you know, keeping the plate spinning. But some of them dang plates, you didn't take that plate off and set it down and say, I'm not working on that right now, because that's not serving me well. It's really not moving me forward. It's not making the cash register ring. And so before it crashes, I'm going to be more proactive and take it off the stick, sit it down, and just hit the pause button. There'll be a time you can come back to this. I mean, that's the good news about COVID. I mean, it's going to have a beginning, middle, and an end. But, you know, they're talking about that, you know, this is going to be like strep throat or some, you know, I mean, some people are going to be susceptible to it, but we'll get it fixed. That's the genius about this amazing world we live in. For the first time, we've got healthcare, you know, providers across the world working together and testing patients all around the world to come together. I mean, there are some really great silver linings in all of this for the world. I mean, I don't know if you saw in Venice, the canal. I mean, for the first time, they can't even measure. It's clear. The water is clear. You can see the bottom of I mean, what we're doing to the universe from just a earth, you know, protecting the earth, protecting the environment perspective. That's a silver lining in all of this. I mean, absolutely. And then say, well, so where's the silver lining for me? Well, what I can tell you at eWomen Network is, and I'd be lying out my teeth to say I knew this was going to happen. I had no clue whatsoever. It never even dawned on me. But I was talking a few weeks ago to, I think it was Amy Matthews, who's our managing director in Atlanta. And she was having her first online accelerated networking event. She says, Sandra, this is the coolest thing ever. She says, normally when I do my in-person events, it's just the people that live in the Atlanta area, right? And then, it's kind of like Orange County and San Diego. That's too far. Craziness, It's kind of like St. Charles and St. Louis. I mean, everybody's got it. Vancouver, Washington, versus Seattle, like Fort Worth and Dallas. Oh, it's too far. You know what I mean? So even if you're in a surrounding area, not everybody will come. But she said to me, you're not going to believe this, Sandra. She says, I have this huge event, accelerated networking event, and I got people from 7 states and 3 countries showing up. I'm like, oh my gosh. For the very first time, your membership travels with you, not just literally, but virtually, right? I didn't even know that when I started out on this, Lauren.
We get to jump on, so anyone, so like I can just plug into anyone's virtual networking event,
right?
In the world. How many chapters do you have now, Sandra?
There are 118. I mean, we had in Australia, we had a woman that was on their event from Singapore. I mean, it was just the coolest thing to see people going, for my one membership, I can. If you've got the and let me just tell you, even if you've got a local business, find somebody else in another state, another country that has a business like yours and say, what are you doing? I mean, a great idea can come from anywhere. I always listen to people. Like I went to the Zoomtopia conference back in September in I think it was San Jose area. And their keynote speaker was Sir Richard Branson. And let me tell you, I stood in line. I mean, I was probably about 15th, 16th, something like that, and mad about it because I wanted to be number 1. So I got there a couple hours early, you know what I mean? And because I'm okay with that, I want a front row seat. Okay. I want a front row seat, big old, like my conference. I'm like there to be a student. I want to learn. Not too proud for that.
So awesome.
And so I'm up there and I'm looking at Kim like, I told you we should have left 15, 20 minutes earlier. I bet we could have been number 1 or 2. We're like, I don't know, 15, 16, something like that. We go, the doors open, and man, I'm making a beeline. I'm in the front row. I want to be in the front row. I don't want anything to distract me, and I don't want to get behind a big head. I mean, I want the front row. And the poor guy with my hair behind me. But anyway, so I'm in the front row, and unbeknownst to me, but I should have assumed, when they introduced him, he was on Zoom. It was a Zoomtopia. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I was so disappointed because I expected him. But it's okay. It was okay. He was being interviewed. And I'm like, my whole thing is one thing that can change anything. Give me the one thing. Get me one download, one thing that can change everything for me. One thing that can change anything and everything. That's what, I mean, if I watch somebody speak for 8 hours, if I read a whole book, which sometimes is more than 8 hours, I mean, I'm looking for the one thing, and so, and taking fast action on it. So he said one thing in that whole, he was interviewed for an hour, one thing. And he said, the question that she asked him was, what do you think is the most important skill, right, that a CEO needs to take in order to not only be super successful, but maintain it, sustain it over time? And I mean, like, without a shadow of a doubt, without a hesitancy, without an extra breath, no pregnant pause, nothing. He just said delegation. Delegation, your ability to learn and manage delegation. And for me, that's all about priorities. That's that P in priorities. What are the 3 things that only you can do that move the business forward and get out of the minutia of everything that you're doing? And, there was a time when I didn't have money to hire people. And so sometimes maybe you trade out, maybe you barter, maybe you put some of those other things and take the plate off and just say, no, I'm not doing that right now. It's not serving me for the next 60 days. I can always come back to that, but this isn't the time for me to put my time and energy into that because I got to move this forward, right? And so, it's just, what is that one thing, that you can learn in a networking environment from somebody that you go, well, maybe I can't adopt it exactly as it is, but maybe I can adapt it. Maybe I could tweak it just a little bit. Like, gosh, that's a great idea. I never thought of that myself. Right?
Right. So you go in with intention of just looking for one thing, not everything. Because
right.
The most important thing to change,
to move your business forward,
to change anything
or everything. I always go, what's the one thing that can change everything for me? what's the one thing I can go, oh my gosh, that if I did that, if I could fix that, if I could implement that, oh my gosh, if I got that app, if I got whatever it is, that could change like we've never had Slack. Have you ever heard of the Slack app?
No, what is it?
Slack. Slack. I think they have a free version too, as well. But we're too big, so I've got to pay. I think it's $8 a person or whatever. But let me just tell you, it's the best darn thing once we went home-based, because we have a morning meeting. We have a 9 o'clock morning meeting we have it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tuesdays, we have our project management meeting, our Asana meeting, and Thursdays, we have our website meeting, our technology meeting. So anyway, on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 9 o'clock, everybody goes on Slack just from there's like a little icon on my thing, and it's like texting and emailing without bogging down your emails. It is like a revolution. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it once we even all come back. Right. But you could even do everybody can do a meeting, and you can put Zoom. I mean, it's like it can be live, and we just said at 9 o'clock in the morning, people I don't think have even brushed their teeth yet. So we just decided, you know what, we're going to go like just a static picture, but everybody does what are the 5 things with the 3 most important things you're spending 80% of your time with? So your team has to model this. Well, here's what's really cool about it is you don't even have to have like employees. Let's say you have a team, or maybe you have an accountability group, or maybe you have, right? I mean, you can use this Slack app. The other one that's there's a great free version, because I used it for a while and then I upgraded, and that is Blinkist, like Blink, kind of like the I Dream of Genie, Blink, BLINK, and then add IST, Blinkist app. And it is a way for those of you that like to read and maybe just don't have the time, and maybe you can. It starts to understand what you like. You fill out a profile. It starts to understand what you like, and it serves up the new things, and it gives you basically the cliff notes. It's like 15 minutes of a book, and you could do it something that you read. You know what I mean? Or or you can do it audio. And, and so I like to listen to podcasts audio, but there's something about scrolling and reading on my phone that just really helps me cement some of those things. Yeah, for 15 minutes. So, I mean, those are a couple of things that could be something that changes everything. There's
the one thing, you're listening to Sandra right now, taking notes and listening intently, because that's a lot of things. She's giving you so many golden nuggets. I mean, literally, that's why I wanted you to have you on the show, because I just let you roll. I've seen you for 4 days.
Yeah, right.
Go.
And just so you know, I'm an introvert, so after this, I'm going to crash. I promise you. I'm going to be like, let me go plug in somewhere alone. Thank you for having me. You're just so great.
Well, we still have a little more time if you want to.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm not cutting you off, girl. I'm going to keep as long as I can.
Okay.
I mean, for people that don't know you, like, what's some backstory about you that has really brought you to where you are today? Because I know, we all have our stories, and we all have our messages.
We all have them, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We all have them. My mother used to say, no matter how bad your story is, it's like she says, giving, a hand, if you've got like a hand of cards, right? Mm-hmm. When so many people shows you their hand, you're going to want to pick up your cards back. You know what I mean? Just like all perspective, everybody's got a story.
That's right.
I'm a small town girl. I mean, I live in Dallas now. I've been here about, my son's birthday is coming up on Cinco de Mayo. He'll be 25. So I've been in Dallas 24 years. We moved here right after he turned 1. He turned 1 in May, and we moved here the week before July 4th. And let me just tell you, I just thought, oh my God, I mean, I better just live a better life, because if hell is as hot as it is in Dallas in July, I mean, that is torture. I'm like, where did we move? I can't breathe. I went from a Midwestern town, Dayton, Ohio, with like these gorgeous summers to, 100+ degrees in July. Wow. And so I'm a small town farm girl. I'm first generation American. My father was French Canadian, My mother was Mexican. My mother's Lopez. My father my maiden name was Goulet. My father died on my birthday. When I turned 5 years old, I never had a chance to really know him. I really don't have any memories of him. I've got a few pictures and people that have told me stories about those pictures that I think I've imagined them, you know what I mean? I was raised by my mom who, you know, couldn't get a job because she could speak English, but she couldn't read it well enough to get a driver's license until many years later. And so we were raised on welfare until my mom remarried a number of years later to a wonderful man. You know, he was 49 years old. He married my mother with 3 kids, and one of them, my brother, who was 13 months older than me, had a major heart condition, you know. So, you know, to be 49 years old, never married before, marry my mom with 3 kids, one that was really sick. And my brother Rick passed away, of all things, in a car accident when he was 27 and I was 26, which still is a hard thing for me to reconcile for somebody who fought so hard to live, that he would be taken, you know, in a car accident. Took me a long time to get over that one, and a lot of therapy. So now, but my mom is now with him. I mean, she died about 2.5 years ago, and I remember holding her, you know, climbing in bed with her and holding her when she passed, as I promised that I would. I was rubbing her feet when she took her last breath, and when I realized which she loved. And she would, even when those last days when she wasn't responding, when I would rub her feet, she'd blink. You know, she knew it was me. I was holding her last breath. She came to a few minutes before she died. And she just moaned to me. She couldn't speak, but I just connected with her, and I just said, I'm good, Mom. I'm good, you know, and I will miss you, but I'm good. And you did a great job. You were a great mom, you know. And I climbed in bed with her, and you know, I had people around me saying, she can see you, we need to celebrate her. And I'm like, I celebrate you, Mom, I celebrate you, you know. And then I said, no, I don't. I'm already brokenhearted, and I'm going to be good, but I already miss you. I mean, the remembering part of her is so easy for me. The missing her still is what's so hard. You know, I just really miss her touch and her voice. And, you know, I'd be on these tours, Lauren, and I would call her to check on her. And she'd say, where are you today, Sandra? And I'd say, oh, I'm in Orange County. And she asked me the same question every time. She'd say, did they like you? I mean, she never really got what I did as a woman who, you know, grew up in a convent, you know, as an orphan, and never had a network, never had, you know, friends, and just had to figure it out. You know, she darned socks and built and sewed men's shirts. I mean, nothing was too small or too big for her. And you know, she was not an educated woman, but she was a wise woman, and she wanted me to be educated. She didn't have the money to educate me, but I figured it out. I went to college on a Pell Grant. I got student loans, and I did an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a 2-year postgraduate degree. And let me just tell you, Lauren, I focused on trying to be smart because my heart had been broken so much, and I just didn't want to feel anymore, you know? I didn't want to have my heart broken. So I thought, you know what, I'll be smart. What I can tell you is I learned a lot in my education. I still am, it's still very important to me. I read every day. I ask my employees on company time, take 15 minutes on company time and read. Just read something. Find something about I don't care if it's a Google search. I don't care if it's a book. I don't care if it's a periodical. I don't care what it is, but always be gathering something. You'd be amazed how the accumulation of 15 minutes, what that means, right? It's just like exercising, right? You start out with 15 minutes. Before you know it, you can and want to do more, right? It's just this thing that happens. The same is true with learning. But my mother, she gave me wisdom.
Mm.
And that's the stuff that money can't buy, that books can't buy. And it's another reason why I know that relationships are so important. Your network is so important. You can learn something just by being silent and listening. You know, my mother used to say to me, you know, she used to say to me, you know, give without remembering, Sandra, and take without forgetting. Like, give because you can show up. You asked me, Lauren, to be on this call, and there's a lot going on, and I just wanted to be here with you and for you because I could. You know what I mean? Because you can. Just do things because you can without anything in expectation of return, right? When I was about to quit, she told me, I said, I'm going to go get a job and do eWomen Network part-time. She says, my God, how many hours are you doing now? And I told her I was doing, 10, 12 hours. I had little kids at the time. Before they woke up, after I got them to school, after I got them fed, after I got the homework, I'd be up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And my mom said, how are you going to do it part-time? Because you're not going to want to go just get a job. You're going to want to get a career. And that was always another, at least 60 hours for you. I said, you're right. I said, maybe I just ought to quit. Maybe I ought to table this. Maybe I just ought to quit. Maybe I'll come back to it. My mother says, well, how do you know? How do you know it's time to quit? And I said, I don't know. She says, well, how do you know? How do you know if you're not quitting 5 minutes before the miracle begins, Sandra? And I said, I mean, I still, can you see? I mean, I got goose. I can still feel it, man. I'm telling you.
Wow.
And I said, I mean, it's a great question. I was like, well, I don't know. And she said to me, she says, well, then you can't quit, honey. You can't quit. She said, I'm not telling you not to quit. I'm just saying that if you're going to quit, you better know why. And you better be clear. Because if you don't have that clarity, you'll quit and you'll spend the rest of your life wondering what might have been. And I said, well, Mom, okay. So what do I do? And she said, I can still feel it.
Oh.
She was like, oh, how I wish I knew what to tell you. And she said, but I don't, Sandra. I don't know what to tell you to do, but I know one thing. And I said, what's that? And she said, I gave birth to a daughter smart enough to figure it out. And all I needed in that moment, I realized, was somebody to believe in me, because I had dug myself in a hole. You know, you dig yourself in a hole. I mean, rule number 1, stop digging. Put the frickin' shovel down. Turn around. You know, reach for a ladder. And if you haven't built the ladder, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. If you got a voice, start screaming. Just start screaming. And if you've got a great network, if you've got great people in your life, someone will come. And even if they don't have a ladder or a rope, they will say, like my mom said, I'll help you. Right. I'll scream too. I'll find help. I'll bring someone in. And that's why, you know, relationships are so important right now. If you're stressed right now, let me just tell you, that can make you sick. And you don't want to get sick in this environment. You got to take responsibility to be your own rescue. Lean in, step in. There's people like Lauren, people like me. There's so many other people that welcome you. You know, we got our hands out, but you gotta at least put your hand in our hands so that we can pull you in.
Right. Meet us
you show up. You're not alone. No one makes it alone. No one makes it alone. Everyone who's ever made it in any aspect in their life has had a network.
Absolutely. And you are the queen of networking. 118 chapters, biggest summit coming up in July. What are the dates to make sure that?
Well, we're announcing, guess what? We moved it. I didn't feel comfortable doing it in July. I just said, you know what? I don't feel like it's like people are going to feel like it's safe enough. And I have to listen to my customers. I do. And I have to listen to my own heart. If I'm going to have my own family there, you know, it's a family affair. I put everybody to work at my conference. And, you know, I'm not doing it in July. So we're announcing it actually in a couple of days. And what's so cool is we got approval to move it to the fall. And what I love about that is in Dallas, that's high season. The weather is so beautiful. And that's why I never do it in the fall, because the hotel rates are so outrageously expensive. But you know what? I've been at this hotel for 3 years now. And I've got a big relationship with them, and they honored our July rates.
Oh,
I know. I said, listen, you can charge me more. I mean, I'll figure that out. But make sure you make it seamless for my attendees. So they're honoring the 169 room rate, which is unheard of. I swear to you. I swear to you, on my mother's grave, it's unheard of in the fall. So I got to wait until I release it in mass, but it is this fall. And I'm having them not only tell me what they're doing, I'm asking them to do some extra things, and I'm doing some extra things just to make sure that we all stay, extra safe.
perfect. Well, that's so exciting. And then you also have a free gift for our audience.
Yeah. So you're going to have to help me out, because I think I gave you the code. I think it's eWN.news/monetize me, right? Do I remember it?
Yes, you got it. eWN.new/monetize me.
Is it new or news?
I only have new, NEW.
Let me double check while we're while we're doing that. But let me see if I can talk and chew gum at the same time. This ought to be interesting. So let me describe what it is. Okay, that it is. So I'm giving away, this is a program, just so that you know, this is a program that I have, that I created. It's 7 modules with downloadable worksheets, with videos of me, my voice, walking you through everything. And what I love about it is that it is a $1,497. I've sold it, thousands of them, for $1,497. And let's see here. I'm going to just call Brianna real quick while I can and double check on that. And I'm going to give it to you free. You can have it. I'm only going to have it up. Hey, can you tell me, was it eWN.news with an S/monetize me, or new? Is it news with a plural? Thank you. Okay.
Brianna said hi.
Okay, so it's eWN.news, NEWS/monetize me. I'm going to leave it up for the day, and it's about taking action. Isn't that what we've been talking about? You don't have to listen to it today, but you got to take action. You got to say, I want this. And so go get it. It's totally free, no strings attached. And it's 7 modules. Basically, it's 7 modules on how to build a $1 million business. And I use the word million, which are 7 letters. That first M is mindset, because your mind has to arrive before your life will. And so I'll be talking about that with worksheets. Go get it. It's yours. Take fast action. It'll be up for the day.
I love that. Very generous. So great.
Yeah.
We can talk forever, girl.
I know.
I know, right? Just love it. You've given so many things, and I just want to thank you for your generosity, for your heart. Of course, you had me in tears as well when you spoke about your mom. Yeah. I'm very best friends with my mom, so I get it. But,
yeah. Well, so, you are a really special, wonderful woman, Lauren. And I just want you to know I see you, and I appreciate you. I appreciate, how you put yourself out there. A lot of people talk about it, and you're just all about it. And there's a big difference. So, when you asked me to be on this, I just wanted to support you. I just really have a great appreciation for, the fierceness that you exude. And, you're a really, really special woman. And I'm glad our paths have crossed, and my life is better because you're in it. So thank you for inviting me.
God, you're going to make me cry again. Because we're fierce females.
There you go, right? You are fierce. That does define you. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, and Brianna just texted me and said that she tested it, and that works. The eWN.news with the S /monetize me. It works. Go get it. It's yours, free.
Right. We will fix that in the email for sure. We'll have your bio, you'll have your speaker sheet, your photo, all your golden nuggets that you've shared with us. That'll be all for the audience. And I just adore you. I can't wait to see you again.
I know. I know. I know. I think I'm going to be back in the California area before fall. I'll keep you posted.
You better, honey. I love you here. That's where I first met you, right?
I know.
You know who you were. Now look at us.
Now look at us now, right?
And that's how important, like you spoke about, the most important thing is building those relationships. And
you
would have said yes to me if we hadn't built a relationship. So that's
right.
Never know.
Everything is about relationships.
Everything.
All business is about relationships. I just happen to make relationships my business because that's how important I know it is, right?
See? So listen to Sandra. She knows a little bit about what she's doing.
A few things.
Massive organization. She specializes in female entrepreneurs, and she's got the gift is amazing. Monetize Me Now. I can't wait to go through your 7 modules myself and hang on. Word. I know. I just adore you. I love you. Thank you for being on.
Love you too. Take care, sweetie.
It's a perfect hour. We're right on time because I know you have those 3 priorities you've got to get to.
It's okay. We're good. Okay. Take care, everyone, and bye for now.
Thanks, Sandra. We love you.
Bye-bye.